Jenny with your weekly energy forecast for the week starting June 1st and running through June 7th. If you are new to my channel, I am a practicing shaman and I do energy readings and help people get in touch with their animal spirit guides. Today's video will be a little longer than usual because I am being asked to touch upon a few topics today. If you watch my videos regularly and you watched the one from last week, I talked about how the veil is very thin at the moment and how many of us are given very significant dreams. And I have been bombarded with dreams lately, very powerful dreams, very graphic dreams, and also dreams that I'm being asked to talk about in these videos here. Again, if you watch my videos, you know that my own main spirit guide at the moment is Master Kuthumi, and he has several messages that he wants me to bring you this week. So it was my initial plan to start with one of my dreams, but current events here in America, I am located in New York City, as you know, and current events here in America have kind of made me rethink that initial plan because I feel like I have to start with what is going on here in our country at the moment. And I don't know if you have noticed, but to me it just feels like we are reliving the 60s. We have race riots in our streets again. And today is Saturday, and this afternoon, New York time, we had a rocket launch. And that is something we really haven't seen since the 60s. So then, of course, we need to ask ourselves, why are we reliving this energy from the 60s? Why is it repeating itself? And the answer to that question that I have been shown is that it is time for America to face some ugly truths about itself. We can no longer ignore this division that has been part of the foundation for this country ever since it was created. We can no longer turn the other cheek. We have to face these truths in order to heal and move on collectively. So how do we do that then, you might ask? And here the answer seems to lie in the balance between the masculine and the feminine. Instead of using a masculine approach to this, we need to get in touch with the divine feminine within us. We need to choose a softer approach. And we also need to remember that healing in the collective always starts with ourselves. So we do have to do this spiritual work that we have been pushed to do now for several weeks. I have talked about that in many of my videos. The coronavirus was part of all of that. Forcing you to stay home and change your focus was also meant to make you focus on your own inner life, your own inner journey, and your soul mission, so that you could move on and do some very important healing work for yourself. So everything was switched off for a reason. And we do need to do that work in order to move on collectively. We simply can't tolerate this division anymore. And history is repeating itself because we have to realize that and we have to do something. Then I also asked Kuthumi in one of my meditations this week, well, what is the whole point of this rocket launch? I thought that time was over. I thought that that was kind of a potent display of power that had no room in the age that we're in right now. So I didn't quite understand all of that. And then he showed me why in one of these dreams this week. And he basically lifted me up in this dream so that I was floating and could see everything from above. And what he was telling me in doing that is that maybe this rocket launch can finally make us see that this planet, my pebble here again, that this planet is primarily water. That America on this pebble is very small, that the earth is not individual countries, the earth is primarily water. And that is the perspective we need in order to come together. We need to realize that the country we're living in is insignificant when you see it all from above, and when you see this dreamy water element dominating this planet. So maybe these rocket launches will achieve that. Maybe we will finally have an epiphany out in space and realize that competing between us doesn't really pay off, doesn't really help anyone. So before I talk about the first card that I pulled to start this reading, I would like to bring in one of my dreams here. And in that dream, Kuthumi took me to the forest again, as he has a habit of doing. And he took me over to this forest lake, or this pool of water, and asked me to look inside. And at first glance, all I saw was my own reflection, which in itself is significant, because that's like seeing your own mirror image and being told that change has to start with you. You need to continue the spiritual work that you're already doing. But then as I looked into the water, I started seeing shapes, and these shapes were actually the logo of all of our main social media companies. I saw the Facebook logo, I saw the Twitter logo, I also saw the YouTube logo. And as I looked, the letters of these names, they just transformed. And they transformed into these monstrous heads with open mouths, and you could see that they were just arguing and bickering and wouldn't stop talking. And first I didn't really understand what that was all about. But now I believe that this is also to do with this energy shift that we need to bring about, that we need to stop this very masculine push of our own opinions and start listening to each other again. At the moment, my own social media activity is non-existent, because the energy when I go there, it's just so, I want to say destructive, but maybe that's too strong, but it's just so aggressive. It's like you cannot disagree anymore without ending up in an argument. You cannot just decide to have different opinions. For many people, they react to that with anger, and they want to convince the other person, no, I am right and you are wrong. And I wonder what happened to that time where we could disagree and still coexist peacefully. So I think the reason Kuthumi showed me these logos in the water, the element of our dreams and inner world, is that we really need this shift in energy. It really has to happen now. It might also be tied into this topic of the false light workers that I have been on in a few of my videos, that we cannot tolerate people who come from a place of ego anymore. In one of my previous videos, I told you about one of my own encounters with someone claiming to do this positive work, but where it was very obvious that it came from a place of ego. It was not about helping, it was not about healing, it was about herself. So it might also have to do with that we still need to be aware of the messages that we take in, aware of what we listen to, and ask ourselves if these messages that we spend our time listening to, if they really come from a place of love. I think that's more important now than it has ever been. Before, I have also talked about how it is so important that we become our own spiritual guide, that we don't follow blindly. Even if we like the videos produced by this person, or we enjoy being part of their communities on social media, we still have to ask ourselves every time, how does this message relate to me? What am I supposed to take from it? And not just follow blindly. So with that, let's have a look at the card that came up for this week. And with everything going on in America, I expected that it would be the Tower energy or something like that. But the card that came up today was the Fool. As I read this, it also has to do with America and what needs to change here, that America basically has to start a new journey, jump off that cliff and start over. So the Fool is guided by his heart's path, and that is symbolized in this deck by that rose that he is holding. It is also symbolized by that divine light that is shining on him. So he perceives that as divine grace pouring down to him. He has an innocent trust in the divine, and because of that he steps forward fearlessly and is oblivious of that cliff that he is about to tumble down. And that, of course, is our world of experiences and adventures. But in this reading, this has to do with America. It has to do with America having to start a new journey. We have to find grace again. We also cannot despair. We have to realize that if we trust in spirit, we will be okay as a country. So there is healing in our future. But this today is definitely America's journey. I always show you the card from the traditional Rider-Waite deck too. And here you can see how he is breathing in this new air ahead of him. He has the light behind him in this deck, but still the card conveys this blind trust that he has. There are many interpretations of that animal behind him, but I like to think of it as one of his animal spirit guides accompanying him on this journey. So the crystal I have been guided to work with this week is petrified wood. This is really fossilized wood that has been transformed into an opal. This is a stone that can really enhance your well-being, and the reason for that is that it grounds you. It makes you aware of your roots, and it makes you able to feel yourself better. It also makes your heart open, and you can feel this profound inner harmony. So it can help you see the pleasant and positive sides to life. And I think that is an energy we need at this point to combat some of that fear that is out there. When I woke up this morning, I was almost floored by the fear energy that I picked up from the collective, and I had to go into meditation right away to shield myself from that. So we are experiencing an imbalance, at least here in America at the moment, with a lot of fear energy, and darkness is just waiting to come in and cause even more trouble for you. So this week it is extremely important that you ground yourself and you find something that can bring positivity and harmony into your experiences of daily life. And this crystal can do that. When I work with this stone, it literally feels like a weight lifting from my shoulders right away. This stone can have the same effect on me as a wonderful shoulder massage. You can just feel reborn after meditating with this stone for a while. So this is the crystal for this week. I think that was all I wanted to say initially. So let's have a look at the messages our spirit guides have for us this week. I will be using one of my shamanic decks again, called Native Spirits by Denise Linn. So let's see what 3 perspectives come up. Oh, they're coming quickly today. That was our first perspective. Our second perspective. And our third perspective. So the first card that sprang out of the deck today is the Ancestors card. And that does not surprise me, because this card comes up in a reading when it is time for us to take a look at our life. And with that I mean our spiritual life. So we need to take a hard look at ourselves and face the things that we need to change. This has to do with what I mentioned before, that for us to move forward as a collective, we need to look at our own life, our past lives too, and see what energy we might be carrying with us. If we look at it in terms of racism, do we, for instance, carry an energy like that around with us? Is there something we need to heal? Something that can be karmic that we might have been carrying with us through many lifetimes? This card also comes up when you need to hear that you are being supported by your ancestors, that your deceased loved ones are looking out for you, that they are there to support you, that they haven't forgotten about you, and that they see the pain you might be living through right now. So it comes up when you need support also. Another reason it can appear in a reading is to remind you that you need to pay attention to your dreams. So we're still dealing with that thin veil, and that energy is still here, that your dreams might be profoundly important at the moment, and you do need to pay attention to them. The next card that comes up is a little of the same, the Sacred Mountain. And this card comes up when it is time for you to move into a silent place within you, so that you can hear the voices from your spirit guides better. So basically you need to surrender to stillness. So it comes up to remind you that right now might not be the time for physical action. And that has much to do with this balance between the masculine and the feminine that I talked about before. That at present we should not charge ahead with this masculine energy of taking action, but we should go within and be still and meditate, listen to our own inner guidance instead. So there's also a message here about all these riots and all this looting going on in big cities all over America at the moment. And basically this card is saying that that is not the path forward. That is not the path that is going to lead to the change that we're all craving. The Sacred Mountain is a card of peace. And it is a card of prayer also, a card of faith. Mountains in many native traditions are sacred places. They have that summit where you can reach your hand out and almost touch the divine. It is also earth, Gaia, raising itself up and forming that unity with the sky. So in many native traditions, a mountain is a sacred place. So this is a card of faith, a card of prayer. When we combine it with this card about the Fool's Journey, it's about this light shining on him. It's about rediscovering grace. Not violence, but faith. And that fits in perfectly with our third perspective this week, which is medicine bag. And this card has to do with your own inner resources. It comes up in a reading when you need to know that the work you are doing and the work you have been doing is paying off. Your own spiritual resources are growing. Like the Ancestors card, this card also has a message about protection. That your own inner light is protecting you. Your own faith is protecting you. All of that are resources you can carry with you in your own little medicine bag. Lastly, it can come up in a reading if it is time for you to create some sort of shield. I have mentioned these medicine bags before. I will show you mine in a later video, but they are tools that are used in shamanic practices to create a little shield that you can carry with you. It's a little bag where you can put herbs and protective crystals and dried flowers, little feathers, things like that. And together that will work with your own energy field and your own aura and form a protective shield around you. So I'm not surprised to see this card today because of all that fear energy I picked up on this morning. It is time for us to protect ourselves. Time for us to be mindful of who we listen to, what messages we take in, what we agree to do, and also to step back and meditate and practice a little self-love. I have talked about this in many of my videos, but please do remember to shut off the news. Don't get caught in this destructive cycle of cable news. It is only creating more fear energy out here in the collective, and we really do not need that. I have had requests for private readings from a couple of you, and one of you mentioned that the reason you would like a private reading was that you felt totally overcome by fear and you were unable to shut the TV off, and you wanted my help as to how you can do that. And the fact that I'm getting requests for readings just based on that really tells me that I cannot repeat enough that you need to turn off the news. It is not necessary to stay informed to get stuck in that cable news cycle. It is really destructive, and all it does is create even more fear in the collective, and we do not need that. We need more faith, we need more grace, we need more prayer instead. That's the kind of work you should be doing. So I will also pull a card. I will pull a couple of cards today actually. But first I will pull one from this deck called the Higher Intuition Oracle. That is one of my favorite decks now. So let's see what animal comes up for us this week. And the card that we have for this week is the Swan Spirit. And I'm very happy that this card came up, because if you see the message underneath, it says, see the beauty around you. The message of the Swan Spirit is one of transformation. Most of you probably know this story about the ugly duckling and how that poor little duckling was bullied and called names, but then transformed into this creature of beauty, this beautiful bird that also swims and flies with grace. This is an animal of grace too. With the white feathers, it is an animal of beauty, an animal of peace. So the Swan Spirit comes to us when we need to know that transformation is possible. That even the ugliest thing, even the ugliest situation can be turned around and transformed into something beautiful. So that has to do with our current situation also. No matter how ugly it is, no matter how painful it is at the moment, it can become beautiful. We do have the power through spiritual truth to transform it, if we are willing to do the work required. So this actually made me a little emotional to see the swan come up today. I will put him over there next to the medicine bag. Another thing I incorporate in my work is color therapy, the healing energy of colors and how certain color vibrations can impact you. So this week it just feels right for me to also pull a card from my color therapy deck. This deck is called The Secret Language of Color, and it's by a lady called Ina Siegel. So let's see what they have to tell us. So the color that came up is orange. And you can see that the message she has written under the color orange is nurture yourself. And the orange rays do have many healing qualities. They can ease loneliness. This vibration can also help you with depression. It can bring more happiness into your life. It can also improve confidence. So when I look at this color, I am reminded of the energy of a sunrise, that there's a new day dawning. There's light on its way to this situation that we're struggling with. So I recommend that you try picturing yourself floating in this orange liquid, where your muscles, your mind, and your body are totally relaxed. And you can allow this orange liquid to clear away all this toxicity, all the tension in your body. You can allow them to clear away all the fear and replace them with feelings of happiness and confidence. It's a beautiful color vibration and very fitting for this week. So nurture yourself. Finally, I have to tell you about the herb depicted in this card, and that is ginseng. Ginseng can help provide you with motivation and energy, so it can help you believe that this transformation that we have to work towards is possible. It can give you the stamina and the inspiration to do that. So ginseng can be a powerful tonic if you feel deflated, if you feel like giving up, if you feel like a balloon that just hasn't got any more air, that you can't go on because everything is hopeless. Ginseng can give you the kick that you need and can help you see that there is a path forward. So you can benefit from drinking teas with ginseng this week. So because I'm located here in New York, I kind of had a feeling that this week's reading would have a lot to do with America. But this need for transformation, for discovering the divine feminine and for using that energy to move forward is relevant in many other countries too. So that was the reading for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found some comfort in it too, because it is a hard time we're living in. And finally, I hope you will be able to enjoy this lovely summer weather that we have in many countries. I myself am very happy that the sun is out and the warm weather is here. It does feel like a tonic, just like the orange ray. You might also have noticed that I have a new tarot cloth on my desk. So before I finish, I do have to thank Joan for making that for me. This is actually a gift from one of my clients. So thank you, Joan. I absolutely love this blue and golden color that it has. So have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye!